To begin with, Marley was dead.
No doubt whatsoever about that.
The register of his burial was signed by the undertaker, the priest, and the chief mourner.
Even Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon exchange for anything he chose to put his hand to.
Old Marley was dead as a doornail.
Scrooge was his sole executor.
Sole administrator.
His sole residuary legatee.
His sole friend.
His sole mourner. And even Scrooge was not so dreadfully cut up by the sad event that he was not an excellent man of business on the very day of the funeral.
He solemnized it with an undoubted bargain.
Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name.
There it stood years afterwards above the warehouse door.
Scrooge and Marley.
The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. Sometimes people new to the business called Scrooge Scrooge, sometimes Marley. But he answered to both names. It was all the same to him.
Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, Scrooge.
A grasping.
Squeezing.
Wrenching.
Clutcher.
Covetous old sinner.
Hard and sharp as flint, secret, self-contained, and solitary as an oyster.
The cold within him froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shriveled his cheek, stiffened his gait.
It made his eyes red, his thin lips blue.
And it spoke out shrewdly in his grating voice.
Bah! Humbug!
He carried his own low temperature always about with him.
He iced his office in the dog days and didn't thought 1 degree at Christmas.
It came upon a midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels bending near the earth to touch their harps of gold.
7 years ago today.
What's that you say?
Mr. Marley died 7 years ago this very day.
Will it be too much to ask that you return to the work for which I pay you so handsomely?
Oh.
Mr. Cratchit!
The fire's gone cold, sir.
Come over here, Mr. Cratchit. What is this?
It's a shirt, sir.
And this?
A waistcoat.
And
sir.
This?
A coat, sir.
These garments, Mr. Cratchit, were invented by the human race as a protection against the cold. Once purchased, they may be used indefinitely for the purpose for which they are intended. Coal burns. Here one moment and gone the next. And coal is costly. There will be no more coal burnt in this office today. Is that understood, Mr. Cratchit?
Yes, sir.
Now return to your work before I am forced to conclude that your services are no longer required.
A Merry Christmas, Bob Cratchit.
And the same to you, Master Fred.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Bah! Humbug.
Christmas a humbug, Uncle? I'm sure you don't mean that.
I do. Merry Christmas. What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough.
What reason have you to be dismal? You're rich enough.
Ah, humbug.
Don't be cross, Uncle.
What else can I be when I live in such a world of fools as this? Merry Christmas. What's Christmas time to you but a time for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer? If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be, boiled in his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart.
Uncle!
Nephew, keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine.
Keep it, but you don't keep it.
Let me leave it alone then. Much good may it do you.
There are many things from which I might have derived good, by which I have not profited, Christmas among the rest. But I am sure I have always thought of Christmas time, when it has come round, as a good time, a kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time, the only time I know of over the course of the long year, when men and women seem by one consent to open their shut-up hearts freely, and to think of people below them as if they really were fellow passengers to the grave, and not another race of creatures bound on other journeys. And therefore, uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe it has done me good. And I say, God bless it.
Oh.
Let me hear another sound from you when you'll keep your Christmas by losing your situation. You are quite a powerful speaker. Perhaps you should go into Parliament.
Don't be angry, uncle. Come, dine with us tomorrow.
Dine? I'll see myself in hell first.
It would be a great joy to me and my wife.
Yes, your wife. I'm told she brought very little into the marriage. A poor girl, I understand.
I love her, and she loves me.
She loves you. Love. Getting married is the only thing in the world more ridiculous than celebrating Christmas. A good afternoon.
You never came to see me before I was married. Why give it as a reason for not coming now?
Good afternoon.
I'm sorry to find you so resolute, but you will not doubt my spirit. I will keep my Christmas humor to the last. So, a Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Good afternoon.
Well then, how is Mrs. Cratchit and all the small assorted Cratchits?
Oh, very well, thank you, sir.
And the little lame boy, which one is he?
Tim, sir.
Ah, that's right. And how is he?
We are in high hopes that he is getting better, sir.
Excellent. We'll keep him in our prayers. A Merry Christmas, Bob Cratchit.
To you as well, sir, and a Happy New Year.
You talk about a Merry Christmas, a mere clerk with 15 shillings a week and a wife and family to support? I'll retire to Bedlam.
Don't mind him, sir.
Had he minded me as he ought, Mr. Cratchit, he'd be a wealthy man today. Furthermore, if you hope one day to be a partner in this business, you would best return to work. This is a business office, not a parlor room for idle pratter.
Yes, sir.
Scrooge and Marley's, I presume?
Indeed it is.
Do I have the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Mr. Marley has been dead these 7 years now. I am Mr. Scrooge.
You don't know us?
Nor do I wish to.
Well, my name is Mrs. Poole, and this is Mrs. Hackett.
Excellent, excellent. Now I must be off.
Oh, at this festive season of the year, it seems desirable that those of us with means should make some slight provision for the poor and destitute who suffer greatly at this time. Many thousands are in want of common necessities.
Let me explain, sir.
Hundreds of thousands are in want of common comforts, sir.
Are there no prisons?
Plenty of prisons.
The workhouses, are they still in operation?
They are. I wish I could say they were not.
The treadmill and the poorhouses still in full vigor?
All very busy, sir.
Excellent. From what you said, I feared something had stopped them in their useful purpose.
A few of us are endeavoring to raise a fund to buy the poor some meat and drink and means of warmth. We choose this time because it is a time above all others when want is keenly felt and abundance rejoices. So what shall I put you down for?
Nothing.
You wish to remain anonymous?
What I wish, since you ask, is to be left alone. I don't make myself merry at Christmas. I can't afford to make idle people merry. My taxes support the establishments I have mentioned. If people are so badly off, they must go there.
Well, many can't go there. Many would rather die.
If they'd like to die, then they should do so and decrease the surplus population. And besides, excuse me, I don't know that.
But you might know that.
It's not my business. It's enough for a man to understand his own business and not to interfere with other people's. Mine occupies me constantly. Good afternoon.
We will trouble you no further, sir. May God put charity into your hearts.
Good afternoon, idiots. And they've made me late. You'll want the whole day off tomorrow, I suppose, Cratchit.
If it's quite convenient, sir.
It is not convenient, and it is not fair. If I was to stop your pay half a crown, you'd think yourself ill-used, I suppose.
Christmas only comes once a year, sir.
A poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. But I suppose you must have the whole day. Be here all the earlier the next morning.
Thank you, sir. I shall.
Be sure you do. I am off to the exchange. Don't lock up a moment early.
Sir?
What now?
Merry Christmas, sir.
Bah!
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Saviour was born on Christmas Day to save us all from Satan's power when we were gone
Humbug!
astray.
You should all save yourselves from this cold and put an end to your disturbing of the peace with all this nonsense.
I'm sorry, sir, that our singing does not bring joy to your heart.
The joy of hard work fills my heart. I have no need of Christmas cheer.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Scrooge.
Don't beg near my office, boy.
I'm not begging, sir. I'm Tiny Tim Cratchit. I'm waiting for my father.
Humbug.
Oh, there you are. Come along, Tim. I've got the goose. Did you have a lovely time looking at all the things in the windows?
Yes, Mother. Thank you. Did you get a big goose?
The biggest goose you ever did see. It's as big as you. Wait till your father sees it. His eyes will pop right out of his head, and he'll forget all about horrid old Mr. Scrooge. You're not feeling tired, are you, dear?
Not a bit, Mother.
If your father was done working, he'd carry you home on his shoulder. But old Mr. Scrooge will keep him working just as late as he possibly can in that cold little office.
But not tonight, my dear.
Oh!
The office was closed in a twinkling, and Bob Cratchit ran home to Camden Town as fast as he could to play blind man's bluff with his children.
Scrooge took his usual melancholy dinner in his usual melancholy tavern.
And having read all the newspapers and beguiling the rest of the evening with his banker's book, went home to bed.
Scrooge lived in the gloomy chambers which had once belonged to Marley, his deceased partner. The yard was so dark that Scrooge, who knew its every stone, had to grope with his hands. Bear in mind that Scrooge had not bestowed one thought on Marley since he had mentioned him earlier that afternoon.
So let anyone explain, if he can, how it happened that Scrooge, when placing the key in the lock, saw in the knocker not a knocker, but...
Marley? No, it couldn't be.
Scrooge checked every room to see that all was all right. Nobody under the table, nobody under the sofa, a small fire in the grate, his spoon and basin ready, and a little saucepan of gruel upon the hearth.
Quite satisfied, he closed his door and locked himself in.
Thus secured against surprise, he took off his cravat, put on his dressing gown and nightcap, and sat down before the fire to take his gruel.
Humbug! Oh. It's humbug still. I won't believe it. What do you want?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Who were you then? You're particular for a shade.
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Can you sit down?
I can.
We'll do it then.
You don't believe me, do you?
I don't.
Why do you doubt your senses?
Because every little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach. You may be an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragment of an underdone potato. There's more of gravy than of grave about you, whatever you are. Mercy! Mercy! Why do you trouble me?
Man of the worldly mind, why do you believe in me or not?
I do, I must. But why do spirits walk the earth, and why do they come to me? You are chained. Tell me why.
I were the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link, yard by yard. Is its pattern strange to you? Or would you know the weight and length of the strong coil you yourself bear? It was as full and heavy and as long as this 7 Christmases ago. You have labored on it since. It is a ponderous chain.
I see no chain.
Mine were invisible until the day of my death, as yours shall be.
Oh, Jacob, speak comfort to me.
I have none to give. In my life, my spirit never walked beyond our counting house. Mark me, in life, my spirit never moved beyond the narrow limits of our money-changing hole.
Well, no doubt of that. You are always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business! Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business. The dealings of our trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. At this time of the rolling year, I suffer most. Why did I walk through the crowds of my fellow beings with my eyes turned down and never raise them to that blessed star which led the wise men to the poor stable? Were there no poor houses to which its light could have conducted me? Hear me, Ebenezer Scrooge. My time is nearly done.
I will, but don't be hard on me.
How it is that I appear before you in a form that you can see, I do not know. I have sat invisibly beside you many and many a day. That is no light part of my penance. I am here tonight to warn you that you have yet another chance and hope of escaping my fate. A chance and a hope of my procuring, Ebenezer.
You were always a good friend, Jacob.
You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
3 spirits? Is that the chance and hope you mentioned?
It is.
Well, in that case, I think I'd rather not.
Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tonight, when the bell tolls 1.
Couldn't I take him all at once and have it over with, Jacob?
Expect the second on the stroke of 2. The third shall appear in his own good time. Look to see me no more. Others may, but you will not. For your own sake, remember what has passed between us.
Jacob, don't leave me in this fearful state. Have mercy on me, Jacob. Was I but sleeping? Was Marley but a dream? It must have been. Humbug, humbug, I say.
With that, Scrooge went straight to bed without undressing and fell asleep upon the instant.
Couldn't I take him all at once and have it over with Jacob? Jacob, have mercy on me. Don't leave me like this.
When Scrooge awoke, it was so dark that he could scarcely distinguish the transparent window from the opaque walls of the chamber.
As he was endeavoring to pierce the darkness with his eyes, the chimes at the nearby church began to strike.
A quarter past midnight.
No spirits yet.
No sound of dragging chains or ghostly moans.
But Scrooge's fear made time fly swiftly.
Half past.
Still, no spirit.
Nothing to be seen or heard but fog and silence.
Scrooge tried to sleep, but in vain.
A quarter to it.
And yet, no spirit.
Only the sound of Scrooge's beating heart.
Could Marley's prophecy have been a dream and nothing more?
The hour is here, and nothing more. Oh, are you the spirit, ma'am, whose coming was foretold to me?
I am.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
No, your past.
And what business brings you here?
It is for your welfare that I appear.
I am much obliged, but I can't help thinking that a night of undisturbed sleep would be more conducive to that end.
For your reclamation, then. Come, we shall be invisible and silent as the grave. You will now see a child, a youth. You will see yourself, Ebenezer.
As these words were spoken, they passed through the wall and sailed upon the moonlit air until they stood upon an open country road with fields on either side.
The city had entirely vanished.
The darkness and the mist had vanished with it, for it was a clear, cold winter day with snow upon the ground.
Here, too, it was Christmas time.
Good heavens! I was bred in this place. I was a boy here.
Your lip is trembling. And what is that upon your cheek?
Oh, it's but a pimple. I beg you, lead me where you will.
You recollect the way?
I could walk it blindfolded. Look, the old familiar bridge, our church, the winding river.
Your school.
I remember.
There's a boy here on Christmas Day, deserted by his friends and neglected by his family.
His mother is dead. His father holds a grudge against him.
Why does his father resent him?
She died in childbirth. His birth.
Weep for the boy, if tears will come.
Look. Here are his friends in his beloved books. Here's Ali Baba and the Sultan's groom, turned upside down by the genie. Serves him right, I'm glad for it. What business had he to be married to the princess? You see, Spirit, I had imaginary friends.
But not a real friend to talk to, not a living person.
What? Robinson Crusoe not real? And Friday and the padded green body and yellow tail with a thing like lettuce growing out the top of its head? Poor Robin Crusoe. He would call to him after he sailed around the island.
Oh, Robin Crusoe, where have you been, Robin Crusoe?
He made do with what he could, this lonely child. I wish, but it's too late now.
What's the matter?
Oh, nothing. There was a boy singing a Christmas carol at my door last night, and I chased him off. I should like to have given him something, but it's too late now.
Let us see another Christmas. There you are alone again.
All the other boys have gone home for the holiday. Look how I've grown. Why, I must be 18 years of age.
Ebenezer! Ebenezer! And who is this?
It's Fan, my darling sister.
Fan!
Dear, dear brother.
Oh, it's been so long since I've seen you, Fan. How is it that you come here? Is father all right?
I've come to bring you home, dear brother, to bring you home.
Home, Fan?
Yes, home forever and ever. Father's so much kinder than he used to be. Why, home's like heaven now.
For you, perhaps, but not for me. He doesn't know me or even what I look like. I hardly even know you now that you've grown. You're quite the woman. Mama must have looked as you look now, just before she died.
Perhaps that is what has changed his mind toward you. The other night when I was going to bed, he spoke so gently to me that I was not afraid to ask once again if you should come home. And he said, yes, you should. He sent me here in a coach to fetch you. You're coming home forever, brother, and you're never to be lonely again.
Never to be lonely again.
Never, as long as I live.
Then you must live forever, Fan. Nobody else has ever cared for me, and nobody else ever will. You must live forever, Fan.
Dear brother, what nonsense! Everybody loves you. You must forgive Papa and forget the past, for our dear mother's sake.
You're quite a woman, Fan.
And you. Father says you're to be a man now, but we're all to be together for Christmas first. Come along, we mustn't keep Father waiting.
Waiting. 3 days and he sent me off again, this time to an apprenticeship. Fan pleaded for more time, but my father was a very stern man.
She was always a delicate creature, whom a breath might have withered. But she had a large heart.
So she had.
She died a young woman.
She had such a generous nature, yes, too young.
But old enough to bear a child.
One son.
Fred, your nephew, who bears a strong resemblance to your sister.
Does he? I never noticed.
You never noticed? I'm beginning to think you've gone through life with your eyes closed. Open them wide. Come.
They left the school behind them and flew to the busy thoroughfares of the city, where shadowy passengers passed and repassed.
Where shadowy carts and coaches battled for the way, and all the strife and tumult of a real city were.
Here, too, it was Christmas time again, but it was evening and the streets were lighted.
A ghost stopped at a certain warehouse door.
Do you know this place?
Why, it's old Fezziwig's place. I was apprenticed here.
Oh, Ebenezer, Dick.
It's old Fezziwig, bless his heart. And Dick Wilkins, my fellow apprentice, there he is. He was very much attached to me.
Yo ho, my boys, no more work tonight. Christmas Eve, Dick. Christmas, Ebenezer. Let's have the shutters up before a man can say Jack Robinson. Clear away, my lads. Let's have lots of room here. Hilly ho, Dick. Cheery up, Ebenezer. Here we go, lads. You'll enjoy yourself tonight, Mr. Ebenezer, and that's an order.
Yes, sir. I'll try.
Well, put your heart into it. You've put enough of yourself into your work. I have nothing but praise for the way you've discharged your duties, but you're young. There's more to life than bolts of cloth and musty old ledgers.
Come along, girls. Shoulders back, chins up.
It's Mrs. Fezziwig and her daughters and Belle. I've forgotten how beautiful she was.
Come one and all, let's have a dance.
How long since you have danced, Ebenezer?
Dancing is a waste of time.
You didn't think so then.
There was a reason then.
There's been a change in you since you've come to Fezziwigs. You were so gloomy one hardly knows what to say to you.
Well, I think I should warn you, Miss Bell. I am of a serious bent of mind.
I consider seriousness to be a very admirable trait of character, but it can be overdone.
I shall take heed of your advice, ma'am, and go through life with a grin on my face.
Come along, you two. There's time enough to sample the punch when you're old and fat like me. Oh, my wife, I'd better rescue her before that young scamp goes dancing off with her. What a difference it makes, Ebenezer, to travel the rough road of life with the right woman to bear the burden, eh? Unhand that woman, sir.
Oh, piffle, Mr. Fezziwig, sure you'll not be jealous.
With a marvelous wife like you, the object of all men's eyes, I should say so.
Oh, enough of your false flattery, sir.
Now, don't be modest, my dear. I'm the luckiest man alive.
A toast, my friends, to our esteemed employer and his jolly spouse. I give you the king and queen of Christmas spirit, Mr. and Mrs. Fezziwig.
Hear, hear.
Old Fezziwig. A silly man, don't you think?
Silly? Why?
What did he do, after all, to deserve the praises of those apprentices? Spent a few coins, dance like a fool, beam a great smile.
Why, the happiness he gave, was worth £1,000. He had the power to make our lot pleasant or hard. The kindness he gave, I'll never forget.
Ah, but you did forget. Often.
Shall we join the others, Ebenezer?
My pleasure, Miss Bell.
Now, Belle, young ladies mustn't be left alone in the company of young men without a chaperone. Come and join the ladies, and you, sir, join the gentlemen. Mr. Fezziwig has asked for you.
I bow to your wishes, Mrs. Fezziwig.
Ah, such a well-mannered young fellow. He'll make someone a fine husband one day, don't you think so, Belle?
Oh, I couldn't say, ma'am.
Oh, could you not indeed? Your blushes tell me otherwise. I can guess the state of your heart. But come, you must seek guidance of one whose happiness in marriage may inform your own.
Are you in love, Ebenezer?
Well, the thought had occurred to me.
She's too good for you.
Someday, when I've made my fortune, then I'll deserve her.
I think she'll wait for you, my friend. You've won her heart.
If that is true, this is a blessed night, Dick.
As if it had never been, the vision of glowing happiness faded into the mist, and the spirit turned the hourglass.
Scrooge was transported to another scene, a bleak and chilly attic room in the part of London where the destitute were forced to live.
Fan had married poorly, and her young husband had deserted her. The strain of childbirth had been too much for her.
No, spirit, not here. I've labored to forget that dismal night.
And you nearly succeeded. That on this Christmas Eve you must remember.
Doctor, I came as quickly as I could. Is the child going to live?
Yes, the child will live, but your sister... There is little time. We must go to her.
Fan, it's me, your brother. Can you hear me?
Ebenezer, I've sent for you. Promise me.
Promise me what, Fan? I'll promise you anything, only there isn't going to be any need. You're going to get well again, Fan.
No.
You are, dear God. You must, Fan. You can't die. Fan, you mustn't die. You're going to get well again. Fan, look at me. You're going to get well again.
Oh, Ebenezer.
Doctor, do something.
I've done all that I can do.
Oh, Fan.
Oh, how could you have brought me here? Have you no mercy? Have you no pity?
Ebenezer, Brother Ebenezer, promise me you'll take care of my boy. Promise me you'll take care of my...
You heard her.
Forgive me, Fan. Forgive me. Forgive me.
I think she has, Ebenezer. But can you forgive yourself for the neglect of her son? Your heart grew hard. You left Fezziwig's establishment to work for another businessman whose only passion was to acquire more and more money. You plunged yourself in work and shut yourself away from humanity. Look, another Christmas Eve, delayed by the pressure of business. Do you remember?
No.
Look, it's Belle, whom you swore to love forever. She is not changed by the harshness of the world, but you are.
Sorry to be so late, Belle. I'll make it up to you.
Now, do you remember?
I thought you might not come. I know how busy you are.
Well, the time of year and the nature of my business, it's important now that I use my time and opportunities wisely.
To you, this matters very little. Another idol has displaced me.
What idol has displaced you?
A golden one.
That is the even-handed dealing of the world. There is nothing on which it is so hard as poverty, and there is nothing it professes to condemn with such severity as the pursuit of wealth.
You fear the world too much. I've seen your nobler aspirations fall off one by one until the master passion, gain, engrosses you, have I not?
But I haven't changed towards you, have I?
Our contract is an old one. It was made when we were both poor and content to be so. You are changed. When you proposed to me, you were another man.
I was a boy.
Your own feeling tells you that you are not what you were. I am. What promised happiness when we were one in heart is fraught with misery now that we are two. I've thought of this often and keenly. I can release you, Ebenezer.
Have I ever sought release?
In word? No.
In
No.
what?
In a changed nature, in an altered spirit, in anything that made my love any worth or value to you. Do you think if this had never been between us, you would seek me out now and try to win me over? Ah.
Tell her yes, you fool!
You think not?
I would gladly think otherwise if I could. Heaven knows. If you were free, could I believe that you would choose me, a dowerless girl? You who weigh everything by gain. Have you no answer? Ebenezer, I release you with a full heart for the love of him who you once were.
Hell,
May you be happy in the life you have chosen.
I almost went after her.
Almost carries no weight, especially in matters of the heart. And you did have a heart, didn't you, Ebenezer? Why didn't you follow her?
Upon his death, my father left me a small inheritance. Belle wished to be married, insisting that we could get along on very little. But I wanted something more for both of us. So I lent out that money and laid the foundations for financial success, which I have achieved, I might add.
Congratulations. And did you achieve happiness as well?
Spirit, I'll thank you not to sneer. Conduct me home. I've had enough pictures of the past. Leave me alone.
Just one more vision of another Christmas, and then I'll leave you be. Behold.
Martin, you've come home just in time to help us decorate the tree. Susan has been such a good girl today. We've been making bows to tie to the branches.
That's my sweet child. And good things come to good little girls. Look what I found for you on my way home from work. I don't think it will matter if Susan opens just one present a bit early. Do you, my dear?
Oh, could I, Mommy? Could I?
I don't see why not.
Hooray! Oh, Daddy, thank you.
That might have been your daughter, Ebenezer.
Belle, I saw an old friend of yours this afternoon.
Oh, who was it?
Guess.
Oh, how could I? Tut tut, don't I know? Mr. Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge it was. I passed his office, and as it was not shut up, and he had a candle inside, I could not be helped seeing him. His partner Molly lies upon the point of death, I hear, and there Scrooge sat, all alone. Quite alone in the world, I do believe.
I pity him, I do.
Spare me your pity. I have no need of it.
They can't hear you.
Spirit, remove me from this place.
I told you, these were shadows of things that have been. They are what they are. Do not blame me.
Remove me, I say. Haunt me no more.
In a twinkling, Scrooge was transported back to his jury room in his jury home.
He barely had time to reel into his bed before he sank into a deep, heavy sleep.
Lest you should fall asleep, we now release you for a 5-minute break.
Refresh yourselves, and then return again to see poor Scrooge transformed from a covetous old sinner to a magnanimous old saint.
Upstairs, in his gloomy room, sleeps Ebenezer Scrooge, exhausted from his trying hour with the ghost of Christmas past.
Don't mind calling on you to believe that he was ready for a good broad field of strange appearances.
And that nothing between a baby and a rhinoceros would have astonished him very much.
Now, being prepared for almost anything, he was not by any means prepared for nothing.
Consequently, when the bell struck 2,
And nothing appeared,
He began to think that all of this had been a bad dream.
Who? Well, Jacob, where is the spirit of which you spoke of? You did say at the stroke of 2, didn't you? Mistaken in death as you were in life, old partner.
Ebenezer Scrooge! Ebenezer Scrooge!
The ghostly voice resounded from Scrooge's study.
Not daunted, Scrooge marched boldly to see what apparition had called him hither.
the air was filled with the delicious odor of roasted turkey, mince pie, and apple crisp.
the chill Scrooge felt when Marley had appeared was now dispelled by the warmth of Christmas candles bright.
As Scrooge drew near his study, the booming voice called out his name again.
Prepare to meet the present Ebenezer Scrooge!
I will.
Come closer and know me better, man. You never seen the like of me before, huh?
Never indeed.
You never walked forth with the younger members of my family?
Not that I remember.
Nor any of my elder brothers born in these later years?
I'm afraid not. Have you had many brothers, Spirit?
More than 1,800!
A tremendous family to provide for. Conduct me where you will and let me profit by what you have to teach.
Take hold, then, of my robe, Ebenezer Scrooge. We have a journey to take, a journey of discovery!
Scrooge and the spirit moved into the suburbs of the town, invisible as they had been before.
The ghost, notwithstanding his gigantic size, could accommodate himself into any place with ease.
And perhaps it was the pleasure the good spirit had in showing off this power of his.
Or else it was his own kind, generous, hearty nature.
And his sympathy with all poor men.
That led him straight to the home of Scrooge's clerk.
Do you know this house?
I'm not sure I do.
It is the house of Bob Cratchit.
It is? He does very well on 15 bob a week.
Shall we go in?
I wouldn't want to disturb them.
As with Christmas past, we shall be invisible and unheard.
I wonder what's keeping Martha, and your father, and Tiny Tim.
Perhaps Father has stopped to talk with the parson. Father always likes to compliment him on his sermons.
I do hope the pudding's a success this year. And Peter, you better save some pudding for the rest of the family. Well, I'm sure your sisters and I can manage very well without your help, young man.
Here's Martha, Mother. Hurrah, Martha. We've got the biggest Christmas goose you've ever seen.
Bless your heart, my dear. How late you are.
We had a good deal of work to finish up last night and then had to clear away this morning, Mother.
Well, never mind, as long as you're home. Sit down before the fire, my dear, and get warm. Lord bless you.
No, this father's coming. Hide, Martha, hide.
Yes, hide quickly. The closet will do.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas.
You're late, Bob Cratchit. Oh, and Tim, you were quite like an icicle. You've been dawdling again.
Father had a long talk with the minister.
I thought as much.
Why, where's our Martha? Now, it won't be Christmas without her.
I'm afraid she's not coming.
Not coming? Not coming on Christmas Day? Now, what are you giggling about?
Guess who?
Oh, I can't imagine. St. Nicholas, perhaps?
It's Martha! It's Martha!
Oh my, what a lovely surprise.
We fooled you! We fooled you!
Now, children, help Tim to get washed up for supper.
Look how they support him so lovingly.
What did you say?
Oh, nothing.
And how did Tiny Tim behave in church, Bob?
Oh, he as good as gold, and better. Somehow he gets thoughtful sitting by himself so much. He told me that he hoped people saw him in church because he was crippled, and it might be pleasant for them to remember on Christmas Day who made the lame beggars walk and the blind men to see. You know, it seems to me that he grows stronger and heartier every day. Don't you think so, my love?
Yes, Bob. I think he does.
Is dinner almost ready? I'm starving.
Oh, Peter, my boy, before we sit down to our Christmas feast, I have some good news for you.
What is it, Father?
Well, Peter, now that you're practically a grown man, it's time for you to help earn your keep in this household. Don't you agree?
Of course, Father.
Then you'll be pleased to hear that you are to be apprenticed in a fine establishment. Now, I ran into Mr. Scrooge's nephew, Fred Hollowell, and he remembered that I have a son coming of working age. And as he has a position opened, he is ready to start you out at 3 and 6 pence a week.
3 and 6 pence?
And if you get on well, he'll keep you on there and advance you to the position of a full-time clerk.
I'll be just like you, Father.
More importantly, you'll be embarking on a fine career.
To start a mere boy at 3 and 6 pence a week? That's typical of my nephew. No wonder he's never been able to put away a penny.
Perhaps he cares for more than just money.
Fred? He's doing this to spite me, employing the son of my employee at an exorbitant wage.
Beautiful goose, Mother.
Hurrah for the goose.
It isn't a very big goose for a family this size.
It's all Bob Cratchit can afford.
Hurry, Father. Cut the goose. I can't wait.
Now, haven't we forgotten something? Before we sample your mother's famous cooking, we must say grace. We thank thee, Lord, for thy gifts, our happy home, the food we share, the warmth of our fire, and the warmth within our hearts. God bless this house and our family on this Christmas Day.
God bless us, everyone.
Amen.
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 What? Did you say something?
No.
Are you sure? Because I thought I heard you say...
I said nothing. Tell me, Spirit. Will Tiny Tim live?
I see a vacant seat near the fire and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
No, kind Spirit. Say he will be spared.
If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, none other of my race will find him here. But what should you care? If he be like to die, he had better do it, and decrease the surplus population.
You use my own words against me.
Man, if man you be in your heart, forbear that wicked cant, until you have discovered what surplus is and where it is. Will you decide what men shall live and what man shall die? It may be that in the sight of heaven, you are more worthless and less fit to live like millions, like this poor man's child.
A toast. Let us drink to the founder of the feast. Let us drink to the health of Mr. Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge, indeed. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon.
My dear, the children, Christmas Day.
Very well. I'll drink to his health for your sake and for the day's sake, but not for his. Long life to him. A Merry Christmas. He'll be very merry and very happy, I have no doubt.
I give you Mr. Scrooge.
Mr.
Scrooge. Mr. Scrooge.
And now, Martha, will you lead us in a Christmas song?
Here we come a wassailing?
Yes!
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
We cannot linger here, man. Let me show you another household, one that you should know but haven't visited. Can you guess which one I speak of?
No, Spirit.
Well, it is a richer house in creature comforts, but no less happy than the one you have just seen.
It was a great surprise to Scrooge, while thinking on the fate of Tiny Tim, to hear a hearty laugh as they neared the door of a house on the other side of town.
It was a much greater surprise to Scrooge to recognize it as the house of his own nephew.
And to find himself in a bright, cheerful room with the spirit standing smiling by his side.
He said that Christmas was a humbug. He believes it too.
More shame for him, Fred.
I'd very much like to meet your uncle.
Oh, he's a comic old fellow. That's the truth.
But not so pleasant as he might be.
His offenses carry their own punishment. I have nothing to say against him.
I'm sure he's very rich, Fred. At least that's what I hear.
Well, what of it? His wealth is of no use to him. He doesn't do any good with it. He doesn't make himself comfortable with it. He hasn't the satisfaction of thinking that he is ever going to benefit us with it.
I have no patience for him.
Nor I.
Oh, I have. I am sorry for him.
Huh. Sorry for me?
Who suffers by his own whims? Himself, always. Here he takes it into his head to dislike us and won't even come to dine with us. What's the consequence? He doesn't lose much of a dinner.
Fred!
I think he loses out on a very good dinner indeed.
Here, here.
A magnificent dinner, my love. The reason I talk about my uncle so is that my mother, God rest her soul, was very fond of him. She loved him.
It's true. Fan loved me and I her. Dear Fan, I wish you were alive today.
Fred looks very much like her.
Yes, I've been reminded of that just recently.
I was only saying that the consequence of his refusing to join us is that he loses some pleasant moments, which could do him no harm, and I mean to give him the same chance every year, whether he likes it or not.
And every year he'll say,
Bah humbug.
They seem to be happy.
Well, I would suppose that free food and drink would be a source of pleasure for most people.
Happy in each other's company, I mean.
Now, my friends, it's time for a word game called Yes and No.
Oh, I love this game.
I'm going to think of something, and the rest of you must endeavor to discover what it is. You may ask 2 questions each, and I can only answer yes or no, depending on your guess. All right? Now, I've got something in my head.
Too much sherry?
No, Topper. That's one for you.
Oh, but...
You have to follow the rules, Topper.
Is it an animal?
Yes.
Is it soft and furry?
No.
Is it a disagreeable animal?
Oh, yes. Rather so.
What sort of noise does it make?
I can't answer that, Martin.
Does it growl and grunt?
Yes, it does. Sometimes.
I know, it's a tiger.
No, you won't find it in the jungle.
Just yes or no, Fred, remember?
Well, where then? A zoo?
No.
Not in a jungle, and not in a zoo. And it's disagreeable and grunts and growls.
Hmm.
Does it have horns?
No.
Does it bray?
They can't hear us or see us, remember?
Not in a jungle and not in a zoo. Does it live in London?
Yes.
Does it talk?
Yes, sometimes.
Ah, I know. It's Nancy's parrot.
No, it's not caged. At least it thinks it is not.
Does it run in a herd?
Oh no, it keeps to itself.
I found it out. I know what it is, Fred.
What is it?
I know, it's the charity solicitor.
It's your Uncle Scrooge.
Oh, you've certainly given them much merriment.
Humbug. That only shows how little Fred knows me, and I'll thank you not to smirk, sir. Why, Spirit, your hair is turning gray. You are beginning to look older.
My time on this earth is very brief. It ends tonight.
Tonight?
Tonight at midnight. The time is drawing near. Let me show you a darker side of the city, where people are hard-pressed to make merry at Christmas.
The happy scene passed away, and once again Scrooge and the Spirit were upon their travels.
The Spirit stood by the sick in their beds.
And they were fearful.
By struggling men.
And they were patient in their greater hope.
By those in poverty.
And they were rich.
Where are we now? I'm sure I don't know this place.
The name would mean nothing to you. It is a place like many in the world.
Do we have enough wood for the night?
It should last. At least there's one thing that's still free in this country.
Children, the potatoes are done.
They're too hot.
They'll be cold soon enough.
Where did you get them, Father?
Well, I didn't steal them, if that's what you're saying.
She didn't say you stole them, Ben. They fell from a cart in the road.
Your father is not a thief. At least not yet.
Why are these people down here? Men and women in rags, children eating scraps. There are institutions for them.
Have you visited any of these institutions?
No, I'm taxed for them. Isn't that enough?
Come back to the fire, Ben.
Look at these hands, Meg. They're hard hands. They've done hard work. I want to work. I want to have bread for my children. It's not right that there's no work.
We're together, Ben. That's the important thing.
I love you, Meg, and the children. Tomorrow, I'll take them and go to the parish poorhouse.
No! No! I'd rather we all drown in the river than go to one of those places and be separated forever.
Just until I get work.
No! Ben, we're a family. We stay together. Come. Come back to the fire.
Why do you show this to me? What have these children to do with me?
Are they not of the human race? They are your children. They are the children of those who walk around the earth unseen. This boy is ignorance. This girl is want. Beware of them both. But most of all, beware the boy, for on his brow I see that wit is written, which is doom, unless that writing be erased.
Have they no refuge or resource?
Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?
Come back. I wish to know more. Perhaps I have made a mistake here and there. Perhaps I've spoken too glibly of matters to which I gave no great thought. I'm old and it's hard to change, but I'm a reasonable man. Have pity on me. Don't leave me here alone. What have I done to be abandoned like this? What? Am I in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come? And you are about to show me shadows of the things that have not yet been, but will happen in the time before us? I fear you more than any spirit I have seen. But as I know your purpose is to do me good, and as I hope to live to be another man from what I am prepared to bear your company with a thankful heart. Will you not speak to me? Lead on, lead on. The night is waning fast. Why, this is the exchange. Why should we be here?
No, I don't know much about it either way. I only know he's dead.
When did he die?
Oh, last night, I believe.
Why? What's the matter with him? I thought he'd never die.
Oh, God knows.
What has he done with his money?
I haven't heard. Left it to his company, perhaps. He hasn't left it to me, that's all I know.
Likely to be a very cheap funeral. For the life of me, I don't know anybody who would go to it.
Suppose we make up a party and volunteer?
I don't mind going, if lunch is provided, but I must be fed.
Spirit, I don't understand. Who has died? It must be Jacob Marley.
Well, look here, old Joe, if we haven't met here by chance.
Why, this is a den of iniquity, a dingy abode for criminals and thieves. I have no business here.
Well, open it up, Mrs. Dilber. Am I to pay for goods I haven't seen?
What? Mrs. Dilber, my housekeeper? What is she doing here?
You won't be asking how I came by these.
Every person has a right to take care of himself. That's my motto.
After all, he always did.
True indeed.
And who's the worse for wear with the loss of a few things like these? Not a dead man, I suppose.
No, indeed.
I mean, if he wanted to keep him after he was dead, the wicked old shrew, why weren't he more natural in his lifetime? If he had been, he'd have had somebody to look after him when he was struck with death, instead of lying there gasping out his last. Alone, by himself.
Yes.
Why, these are my things. I'll have it up before the magistrate.
What do you call these?
Bed curtains.
You mean you took 'em down, rings and all, with him lying there?
Why not? Now don't be getting like boy on his blankets.
His blankets? I hope he didn't die of anything catching, eh?
Oh no, don't worry about that. I ain't so fond of his company that I'd loiter about him for such things if he did. 10 years I'll slave for that old miser, climbing those stairs to bring him tea each morning, dusting and cleaning that musty old house of his, and not once has he ever exchanged a civil word with me or opened his purse to give me a living wage. Well, what's your offer then?
Let me see.
These are not my things. They are similar. The person she speaks of, he couldn't be me.
£1.5 3, and not a penny more.
You're hardened, Joe, make no mistake.
Oh, but I've always been kind to the ladies. That's how I ruin myself.
What perversity is this? The case of this unhappy man might be my own. I ask to see some emotion connected with his death. You show me only greed and bitterness. Let me see some tenderness, some depth of feeling. There must be some confusion. Your fellow spirit brought me here earlier. Very well then, but you're devilishly hard to have a conversation with.
Suffer the little children to come unto me, and forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of God. Verily, I say unto you, whosoever shall not receive the King of God as a little child, he shall not enter therein. Is there something wrong, Mother?
No. This color hurts my eyes, that's all.
The color, Mother?
There, it's better now. The work makes my eyes red, and I wouldn't show red eyes to your father when he comes home for anything. It must nearly be his time now.
Past it, but I think he walks a little slower than he used to these last few days, Mother.
I have known him to walk with. I've known him to walk with Tiny Tim upon his shoulder, very fast indeed.
And so have I, often.
And so have I.
But he was very light to carry, and your father loved him so that it was no trouble. No trouble. There's your father now.
Hello, Father.
Hello, my dear one.
You're late, Bob. We were very worried about you.
I know. I went to visit the place. Oh, I wish you could have gone too. It would have done you good to see how green a place it is. But you'll see it often. I promised him that we would walk there on Sundays. Oh, my child. My little child.
There. Don't mind it, Father.
Don't be sad.
I won't. After all, I have all of you. Oh, do you know who I saw on the street today? It was Mr. Scrooge's nephew, Fred. He greeted me in his usual way, and when he saw that I was quite melancholy, he asked what was distressing me, and when I told him, he said he was heartily sorry, and I...
Robert, Tim is part of us all, and for his sake, we must go on living. So long as we love each other, he will always be alive.
Of course, my dear. I'm sure that none of us will ever forget poor Tiny Tim.
And when we recollect how patient he was, even though he was such a little child, we will not easily quarrel among ourselves.
Of course not.
Oh, never.
Never.
I am truly, truly a happy, happy man.
Spirit, I ask for tenderness and depth of feeling. You have shown me that. There is nothing more I need to see. Take me home. What place is this? A churchyard? I thought we agreed you would transport me home. Oh, Spirit, something tells me that our parting moment draws near. I know it, but I know not how. Tell me now, who is that man that died? Was it my partner, Jacob Marley? Oh, before I draw near that stone, answer me one question. Are these the shadows of things that will be? Or are they shadows of things that may be only? Man's course of action will foreshadow certain ends to which if persevered in they must lead. But if the courses be departed from, the ends will change. Oh. No! Good Spirit, pity me! Say that I may change these things by an altered life. I will honor Christmas in my heart and keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall live within me. Oh, tell me that I may wipe away the writing of the stone. Oh, spare me! Oh, spare me! Spare me! It's morning. I'm alive! I'm alive! Oh, thank you, Jacob, thank you. I will live in the past, present, and future. The spirits of all three shall live within me. Oh, heaven be praised. I say it on my knees, Jacob. On my knees. Young man, what day is today?
Why, today? It's Christmas Day.
Oh, it is. I haven't missed it. They did it all in one night. Well, of course they did. They can do anything they like. Do you know the poultry shop the next street over on the corner?
I sure do.
Oh, a remarkable boy, an intelligent boy. Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging in the front window? Not the little one, the big one.
What, the one as big as me?
Oh, what a delightful boy. Yes, that one.
It's hanging there now.
It is? Oh, go and buy it.
Blimey.
Tell the man to bring it here that I may direct him where to take it. Come back with the man and I'll give you a shilling. Come back in less than 5 minutes, I'll give you half a crown.
Whoopee!
I'll send it to Bob Cratchit. He won't know who sent it. It's twice as big as Tiny Tim. Oh, what a glorious trick. Oh.
Scrooge wrote out the address in an unsteady hand.
And went down the stairs to the street to meet the poulter.
When he arrived, Scrooge gave him the address with strict instructions not to reveal who had sent such an absurdly large bird.
Scrooge had a cheery hello and Merry Christmas for every man he passed.
Hello, Merry Christmas, good morning, Merry Christmas.
Mr. Scrooge.
That is my name, but I fear it is unpleasant name to you. Allow me to beg your pardons and please accept my pledge to the Poor Fund for,
Bless the Lord! My dear Mr. Scrooge, are you quite serious?
As serious as death himself, and not a farthing less. There are a great many back payments included in that, I assure you.
What can we say to such generosity?
Don't say anything. Please come to see me.
We will.
We will.
Indeed.
I'm very much obliged. Oh, Merry Christmas.
Scrooge went to church. He walked amongst the people of the street.
He patted children on the head.
And questioned beggars.
And found that everything yielded him pleasure.
He never dreamed that any walk, nor anything, could give him so much happiness.
In the afternoon, his steps turned towards the house of his nephew, Fred.
Oh, Fred, it's beautiful, but it's much too expensive.
But do you like it?
I love it. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Well then, it belongs on your wrist. Merry Christmas, my love.
Oh, Fred, I love you. And not just for this.
My word, it's Uncle Ebenezer.
Your uncle? What could he want? Nancy at the door.
Yes, sir?
Your master at home, my dear? Oh, what a nice girl.
Yes, sir. I'll show you in.
Thank you.
Uncle Ebenezer.
May I come in?
Why, yes, of course.
Thank you. Good afternoon, madam. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you.
Uncle Ebenezer, this is my wife, Janet. Janet, this is Uncle Ebenezer.
It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
More like a surprise, wouldn't you say?
Well, that too.
Quite honestly, it is a surprise. When we spoke yesterday, you made it quite clear. To me, it seemed at least that you had no intention of accepting my annual invitation.
I made other things clear too, didn't I, Fred? That Christmas was a humbug, a waste of time and money, and a false festival to be devoutly ignored.
Yes, that about sums it up.
Well, I've come for 3 reasons. First, to beg your pardon for the things I said about Christmas. That was a humbug, Fred. Secondly, I've come to meet your wife, and a beautiful woman she is, too.
Thank you.
I was in love once, would you believe that?
Why, yes.
But I possessed neither the courage nor the optimism, perhaps the depth of feeling that you two have. Thirdly, if your invitation to dinner is still in force, I would like to accept.
Why, of course. I was sure that one day.
Oh, you were you? Well, apparently you were right.
You'll be more than welcome.
Do you like party games?
Why, yes, as a matter of fact, I do.
Aha, and do you ever play yes and no?
It's one of my favorites.
Well, perhaps we could play it today. I'm quite good at it, especially when it comes to guessing the name of disagreeable animals that growl and grunt and live in London. You'll forgive me for saying this, but I see the shadow of my sister in your face. I loved your mother very much, Fred. For a long time, I forgot just how much I loved her. Perhaps I chose to forget. Well, now, if it isn't too much trouble, I'd like to sample some of that punch for which you are so famous.
Of course. You've made us both very happy, Uncle Ebenezer.
Have I?
Yes.
May the Lord forgive me for the time I've wasted.
Scrooge was at the office early the next morning.
Oh, he was there quite early.
If only he could be there at first and catch Bob Cratchit coming late.
That was the thing he had set his heart on.
Clock struck 9. No Bob.
A quarter past. No Bub.
He was a full 18 minutes and a half behind his time.
Scrooge sat with his door open so that he could see him come into the office.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning? What do you mean by coming here at this time of day?
I'm very sorry, sir. I'm very behind my time.
Yes, you are. Step this way, if you please.
It's only once a year, sir. It shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir, and...
Now understand me well, my good man. I am not going to stand for this sort of thing any longer. And therefore, I am going to raise your salary. Merry Christmas, Bob.
Sir,
Not only will I raise your salary, but I'll endeavor to assist your struggling family.
Sir?
We will discuss your affairs this afternoon over a bowl of hot Christmas punch, Bob. Now go stir up the fire and buy another scuttle of coal before you dot another I, Bob Cratchit.
Scrooge was better than his word.
And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was like a second father.
He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the old city ever knew.
Some people laughed to see the change in him.
Let them laugh.
His own heart laughed, and that was good enough for him.
And it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas as well as any man alive.
And may that be truly said of us.
And all of us.
And so, as Tiny Tim observed,
God bless us, everyone.